Keir Starmer's freebie fiasco, a modern-day expenses scandal. Here we go again. Just when we thought British politics couldn't sink any lower into the muddy trenches of public disillusionment, Sir Keir Starmer has shown us it can. His recent furore over freebies, those glorious little tokens of goodwill, such as Taylor Swift tickets and a day at the Doncaster races, has ignited a storm that feels eerily similar to the infamous expenses scandal of 2009. Only this time, it's not about duck houses and moat cleaning. It's about penthouses, private concerts, and a complete disconnect between the political elite and the people they claim to represent. When the Telegraph revealed in 2009 that MPs were using public money to fund lavish personal expenses, the country collectively gasped. Now, in 2024, we are witnessing a new chapter in the same sordid tale, this time centred on Keir Starmer. What we're seeing today isn't just poor judgment, it's a slap in the face to every British voter who's had to tighten their belt as inflation and cost of living crises squeeze harder. The optics of the freebies scandal are damning, and Starmer's response has been nothing short of catastrophic. Starmer's blunder, a self-inflicted wound. Let's be clear, Starmer's decision to pay for these freebies out of his own pocket is a tacit admission that accepting them was wrong in the first place. By forking over more than £6,000 to cover gifts such as Taylor Swift concert tickets, he's essentially told the British public, yes, I messed up. But it's not the gesture of responsibility he may have thought. Instead, it raises more questions than it answers. Why did he only cover the cost for some of the freebies and not others? What makes one freebie worthy of repayment while another, apparently, is fair game? More importantly, this entire debacle further entrenches the public's perception that Starmer, like many of his political counterparts, is utterly disconnected from the realities faced by ordinary people. At a time when millions across the UK are grappling with rising energy bills and food prices, watching a Prime Minister indulge in freebies worth thousands feels like a bitter reminder of the privileges politicians enjoy at the expense of the public. Déjà vu. The new expenses scandal. There's no denying it. Starmer's freebies fiasco is shaping up to be this generation's expenses scandal. Much like in 2009, when we learned that MPs were casually charging the taxpayer for everything from lavish home improvements to absurd personal whims, we're now discovering the extent of the freebies enjoyed by today's political elite. Voters are coming to grips with the reality that the people elected to serve them are still living it up, often at the expense of trust and transparency. In 2009, the shock was palpable. Duck houses and moat cleaning expenses became infamous symbols of political excess. Today, the scandal doesn't involve public funds per se, but something just as damaging: trust. As more details of the freebies come to light, voters are left asking how much longer they can tolerate this. The lesson they are taking away is depressingly familiar. Politicians are out for themselves, and any promises of change are little more than lip service. The political fallout. Trust is eroding. The fallout from the freebies scandal mirrors that of the expenses scandal in 2009, and the result is all too predictable. Once again, voters feel betrayed. For those struggling to afford basic necessities, the sight of MPs enjoying luxury gifts and penthouses is nothing short of insulting. Just like in 2009, when public confidence in politicians nosedived, we're seeing that same erosion of trust today. The only difference is that many voters have become desensitized to political sleaze. They no longer expect anything better from their leaders, but this doesn't mean they'll let it slide. Voters may be cynical, but they're not indifferent. The anger is still simmering, and Starmer's handling of this scandal has only added fuel to the fire. His clumsy attempts at damage control, whether it's paying out of pocket for some freebies or making vague promises about transparency, are falling flat. If anything, they've deepened the sense of betrayal. The British public, once again, is left feeling like their leaders live by a different set of rules. A satirical solution. The National Penthouse Service. Perhaps the only way to make amends, if we follow the logic of Starmer's freebie fiasco, is to ensure that everyone enjoys the same privileges as the political elite. Imagine, if you will, a national penthouse service. Every child in Britain would have access to a luxurious rooftop apartment in Covent Garden to do their GCSE revision. Why should such opportunities be reserved only for the children of MPs and the wealthy elite? It's only fair, right? This satirical solution may sound absurd, but it highlights the growing inequality between the political class and ordinary citizens. If Starmer truly wanted to restore trust and prove he's on the side of the people, he would champion a radical redistribution of luxury. After all, we won't have true equality until every Briton has the same access to Taylor Swift tickets, designer clothes, and multi-million-pound penthouses. The Guardian's moment of patronising glory. Speaking of absurdity, we'd be remiss if we didn't pause to reflect on one of the most patronising moments in modern journalism. October 2004. The Guardian reaches peak condescension when it invites its readers to write letters to swing voters in Clark County, Ohio, urging them not to vote for George W. Bush. The results were predictably disastrous. The letters, dripping with British superiority and a tone of moral righteousness, were met with ridicule by the very voters they were meant to influence. The irony was lost on no one. In 2000, Clark County had narrowly voted Democrat, but in 2004, after the Guardian's ill-advised intervention, it swung behind Bush. The lesson: patronising foreign voters rarely works. Yet, the episode remains a shining example of how out-of-touch elites, whether in journalism or politics, can be with the people they claim to influence. Dawn Butler's leap into poetry. And now, for something completely different. As if British politics weren't absurd enough, Labour MP Dawn Butler has taken it upon herself to add a touch of poetry to the chaos. In honour of Black History Month, she penned a poem that has left many scratching their heads. The poem, featuring cryptic lines such as, "Why you try so hard to achieve by burning yourself with the sun," has sparked heated debate about its meaning. Is Butler mocking white people for sunbathing? Is she alluding to humanity's origins in Africa? Or, as some have speculated, is she hinting at something even more profound? Poetry, of course, is open to interpretation, and Butler's work is no exception. But if her political career doesn't pan out, she may have a future as the next poet laureate. Conclusion: politics, privilege, and perks. In the end, the Keir Starmer freebies scandal is yet another example of how out of touch the political class has become. While ordinary Brits struggle with the harsh realities of life, their leaders are indulging in designer gifts and penthouse stays. Whether it's Starmer's bungled response to the scandal, The Guardian's condescending intervention in American politics, or Dawn Butler's poetic musings, one thing is clear: British politics is as entertaining as it is infuriating. The real question is, how much longer will the British public put up with it? As the freebies scandal continues to unfold, it's becoming clear that trust in our politicians has never been lower, and unless drastic action is taken, it may never recover. In a time when every action seems to deepen public disillusionment, the decisions of political figures like Starmer will leave a lasting mark on history. As the nation watches this scandal unfold, the consequences are more critical than ever. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more in-depth British political content, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay tuned as the drama of our political landscape continues to unravel. Thank you for watching, and take care.